Hey everyone, I wanted to share something really cool with you. This is a sciencey heavy video. So if you're not really into any of that, you might want to turn it off now. Here's the reason. Katie Bowman's book, Move Your DNA. I've had this for a couple years. I'm finally really getting into it. And just like when I started reading a couple years ago when I first got it, it's just note after note. I'm just like just taking in the information. She's such a genius when it comes to this stuff. Katie Bowman is a biomechanist, so she looks at the body in a very different way. She looks at movement from a very different perspective than what we would in fitness or what the general population would, even in a different way than doctors. So there's some amazing information. I don't think it's a book for everybody in the sense that it's very science heavy. It really delves into physiology and movement from a sciencey perspective. So I don't think everyone will find it as interesting as me. But for those of you who do like that stuff, I highly recommend you pick it up. Even her podcast sometimes get extremely science heavy and go into some stuff that even I'm like, okay, that's a little too deep for me. But this is amazing, and I wanted to share this because so the chapter I'm on talks about the cardiovascular system and the circulatory system, and how we see it and we're taught it in a very simplistic way that isn't quite accurate. Okay, so bear with me on this one. So we're taught, for those of you who took biology, anatomy, exercise physiology, we're taught the heart pumps blood throughout the body to deliver oxygen. Not not false, but not totally true. And again, it's oversimplified. So it, throughout our body, we have 100 trillion cells. Mind blown. 100 trillion cells in your body. Okay. Your cells without oxygen react like you do without oxygen. Not good. So in order to keep all the cells healthy and working and functioning properly, we need to deliver oxygen to them, right? So the other cool part about this is another cool anatomy fact. So we have arteries which deliver the blood from the heart. The arteries eventually run into capillary beds and arterioles, which is where the oxygen is transferred from the capillaries to the body. Okay. Every one of our 100 trillion cells, follow me on this, this is so cool. Every one of our 100 trillion cells in the body are within 50 micrometers of a capillary. Mind blown again. 50 micrometers. So to give you an idea of a micrometer, a hair, the thickness of a hair is about 17 micrometers thick. So a little more than 2 hair thicknesses is the distance from every one of your 100 trillion cells in the body to a capillary where oxygen is delivered. That is unbelievable. So, for those of you who, for people in the general population who we just trash our bodies, just think about that for a second. The body is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. So, if we get back to the oversimplification of it, so we have that happening, okay, within the body. So we think, or we're taught, the heart pumps the blood, goes to the capillaries, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually the mechanical stimulation. So it's the movement, the contraction and relaxation of the muscles throughout the body that actually cause the arterioles to relax and open so that they can deliver the oxygen, which also causes a drop in pressure in the arteries. And that pulls the blood from the arteries to the capillaries. And then therefore the oxygen be delivered. So when you think about it, it makes sense, right? What does a doctor do besides giving you friggin' medication for your high blood pressure? What do they usually suggest? Go for walks, right? Well, walking works a ton of muscles throughout the body. It works the whole body from head to toe, and that pumping action will help reduce the pressure in the arteries from the muscles contracting, relaxing, and therefore drop your blood pressure. That's what I got out of that. So that's pretty cool. So, having said that, the whole outlook of strengthening our heart by doing cardio is an oversimplification because the heart pumping that idea of the heart pumping the blood throughout the body is actually not quite how things work, right? It's the muscles. So let me scroll down my notes here again. So in our sedentary culture, okay, in our world where we have way less movement than we have movement, unfortunately, and that gets worse and worse every day with, chairs and couches and technology and everything else. With a sedentary lifestyle, the heart becomes the primary mover of the blood, which is not what it was designed for. So when you think about it, you think about health issues of people who who don't do enough exercise, right? It's not the exercise that necessarily is the key. It's the movement that's the key to keeping you healthy, not exercise as we think of it. So those of us who are sedentary and sit, we're actually asking our heart to do more than it needs to do. So therefore, we're doing more harm for it, right? We're not allowing the body to help the heart. We're asking the heart to do all the pumping, like our simplistic view of the body suggests. So then ultimately, when the heart is the sole pump of the blood throughout the body, that's actually that's how the body operates in a movement drought, is the way Katie puts it in her book. And I think that those are wonderful words, a movement drought. That's fantastic. So that's actually the body's backup defense in terms of getting the blood out to our entire body, right? Ultimately, the body wants the muscles to help the heart so the heart doesn't work as hard. Doesn't that all make sense? It completely does. But what it also means is that we're thinking about exercise in completely the wrong way, right? We think about it as squats, lunges, push-ups, pull-ups, that kind of thing, which they're not bad. But it's what else are we doing throughout the day, right? What are the other things that are going on? It also shows that you don't have to do those things in order to be healthy. You just have to move in a variety of ways. Pretty cool. Let me throw this out for you too. This is really awesome. Here's another anatomy thing for you. The total volume of the capillary system, okay, the total volume of blood the capillary system can handle is roughly equal to about what the body has in it, which is about 5 liters of blood within our body, okay? So oxygen is important. We've established that. But if we had enough blood to fill all the blood vessels all the time in the body, we would actually be very heavy and we'd be very inefficient, right? So the trade-off that the body has is that we have the ability to constantly saturate or constantly deliver oxygen in order to saturate the body in whatever areas it needs at the time. And the trade-off is lightness in the body, which inevitably makes us more efficient. That's pretty cool. So, Katie says in the book, if you don't move, your cells don't get fed. And if your cells don't get fed, they die, which is basically what we talked about at the start of this video, where if you don't get oxygen, what happens? So it's a really cool way to look at what we're doing throughout the day. And it shows that it's the movement habit, not the specific exercises. It's the movement habits that are so important to our health. So one last note that Katie says, basically in line with that, is that regular exercise does not automatically imply that all your parts have received nourishment as a result of the time you spent moving. The benefits of exercise apply only to the areas that are working, right? Which goes back to that shift of blood and where into the important areas that need the oxygen. So if we're constantly doing the same type of exercise all the time, and that's our sole movement, then those areas of the body are going to be nourished. But if we want to be overall healthy and provide health to the entire body from head to toe, we have to move in a variety of different ways. And we have to get out of the thinking of going for a run, doing squats, doing deadlifts, doing push-ups. Those are good, but they're not the overall big picture. They're not the basics. They're not the foundation of what we need. Hope I didn't lose anybody. For those of you sticking around, well done. Very well done. This stuff is so cool. I really hope to bring more and share more with you from Katie's book. And that way, for those of you who aren't into the whole really in-depth sciencey anatomy stuff, maybe I can break it down for you and maybe cause an aha moment for you too, because it sure did for me. Talk to you soon.